So, guys, I don't have to tell you that a lot of stuff has happened this offseason. I mean, during the season, you fire Urban Meyer, then you go ahead and hire Doug Peterson. You spend a record $175 million of guaranteed money in free agency. And you're coming off of a draft where you add a bunch of guys, 2 first round picks, number one overall player, all this stuff. So, we really have a lot to break down when it comes to just change with the Jaguars because a lot is going to change. I mean, new head coach, new offensive and defensive systems. You have a lot of new players that are going to be starting and making huge impacts for the Jaguars. There's certain position groups that you basically completely overhauled. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that the Jaguars did that we've been talking about, and obviously it's all pretty exciting. However, now, you go and hire your coach in February. March, you have free agency. April, you have the draft. Now we're kind of sitting here in May, and we're kind of sitting down a little bit more and really just reflecting on what the Jaguars did in the offseason and how we really move forward. A year ago, obviously the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence, and he was every bit of every conversation. I mean, us Jaguar fans were just so excited to finally have a quarterback that we really feel like we can win games with and that will really elevate a team. I mean, we've gone from, overhyped quarterbacks to bad quarterbacks to quarterbacks that, hey, they might have a fun game or two, but just really aren't it. And we just haven't had that chance where in a draft there was a can't miss guy that was going to be there and fall to us. And, the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence at number one overall in 2021. And all of us fans knew about this guy in 2018 when he exploded on the scene out there for the Clemson Tigers his freshman year. And really, we can talk about, if Brandon Sheriff stays healthy the whole entire year, we're going to be good. Or, oh man, if we can really, cash in on that Devin Lloyd pick, it's going to be amazing. But really, at the end of the day, the thing that really matters is Trevor Lawrence, is the development of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we have a stacked AFC right now, and the AFC is just full of quarterbacks. Obviously the whole entire AFC West is loaded. There's just, even the AFC North to a certain extent has some good quarterbacks. I mean, there's just top-end quarterbacks all over the place, and those are the teams that are going to be consistently making the playoffs, and those are the teams that are going to be making a lot of noise just all throughout the year. And really with the Jaguars team right now, you added a bunch of stuff, but the success of Trevor Lawrence will ultimately carry you, as far as, you really hope to go, and that is the Super Bowl. Now, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence is going to explode in production in 2022. I think, I've kind of, held back a little bit on Trevor Lawrence because, look, he didn't have a great rookie year, obviously. When you look at his numbers, in 17 games, he had a 59.6% completion percentage, threw for 3,641 yards, and threw 12 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. The Jaguars had the lowest amount of passing touchdowns of any team in the NFL last year. It was bad. It was just really, really bad. But we're still all, pretty much everybody still believes in Trevor Lawrence because everybody that kind of understood football and just understood the Jag situation knew one thing, and that is really the first thing I want to talk about on why Trevor Lawrence is going to be great is that, look, the whole entire Urban Meyer thing, era, whatever you want to call it, I don't even like calling it the Urban Meyer era because he doesn't even deserve to have it called an era. It was just terrible and full of so much dysfunction. It's honestly hard to really be hard on anybody from last year because just the biggest distraction was your head coach, and that trickled down to, the offense and the defense, and obviously players did not respect, and they just did not respond to Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was a laughingstock, and that was your head coach. That was the guy that's supposed to rally the team. The team is supposed to respect this guy. This is who you're supposed to fight for, and everybody just took him as a complete joke. And that's a huge reason why, look, getting rid of Urban Meyer is the best thing we could have done. And thank God we did it before the season ended because, I mean, the guy was a liar. He was just full of it. He did not know what he was doing. He didn't know his own players. And really, because I've been hard on guys. Obviously, Laviska Shenault is one guy that I've been pretty hard on. But I'm going to give him another chance. I mean, with him, come back, have a brand new head coach, get the brand new offensive system in where, your coach you don't have to worry about him being out at the bars and everything, which kind of leads into my second point is that the moment we hired Doug Peterson, that made us a lot better of a team, just a lot better of a team. I mean, he comes in here with a quarterback-centric mindset. I mean, he has quarterbacks all over the place. I mean, he obviously, the offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, he was a former quarterback. You bring in like Jim Bob Cooter as the passing game coordinator, former quarterback. Mike McCoy, quarterbacks coach, former quarterback. I mean, you have just quarterbacks all over the place. And Doug Peterson is known to, and also Doug Peterson, like I said himself, he is a former quarterback as well. We have quarterbacks all over the place, and obviously it's going to be really good for guys to see things from Trevor Lawrence's eyes. And what they're going to do is, I fully trust Doug Peterson is going to be able to build an offense to really suit what Trevor Lawrence does best. I mean, obviously he has his own kind of system that he runs, but the good coaches tweak stuff, and he's a great offensive guy. And it's impressive because if you go back and look at, stuff from the Philadelphia Eagles when Doug Peterson was coaching, he's just more active than any head coach I've ever seen from the Jaguars. I mean, he is out there with his play sheet. He's calling plays. He's running around. He's just extremely active in the game. And it's nice to see because obviously we saw, Urban last year, hands on his knees all the time. Even Doug Marrone was a little bit like, lackadaisical, just chewing, kind of walking by. Like, we haven't seen a guy with really Doug Peterson's energy. And, he's going to come in here. He's going to bring it. I think he's going to be just a tremendous asset for Trevor Lawrence. So that's another thing that I'm really excited about is just, Doug Peterson, just bringing a respected guy, bringing a smart offensive mind. I think it's going to be huge for the Jaguars this upcoming season. Next up, obviously, build a system to fit Trevor Lawrence. I did kind of mention that in my last bullet point, but look at what Trevor Lawrence did good last year. Look what he did good in college. I mean, go back to his college tape. Look at some of that. I mean, with Trevor Lawrence, the study, they need to do a deep dive all the way back until college because obviously college was when he was the most successful. See what he did good and just roll with it, man. Build a playbook out of that. Next up, the Jaguars. They just have better receiving options, it feels like, for the Jaguars. I mean, last year, we didn't put a great unit around Trevor Lawrence. And now, I mean, while they didn't go out, it's not like they brought in Tyreek Hill or Amari Cooper. You did bring in some good options. I mean, Christian Kirk should be a very reliable receiver. Also, you bring in Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and you also have Travis Etienne coming back. I mean, I would count that as an addition because we didn't see him last year. So those are 4 new additions, as well as guys coming back from injury, whether it be Dan Arnold or Jamal Agnew, and we can hopefully hope that a guy like Laviska Shenault gets better, and maybe even Kevin Austin Jr. Hopefully he might make the roster as a 6th wide receiver, and hopefully he turns into a good developmental piece. So it feels like the options around Trevor are a lot better. And you can also look at the offensive line too. The Jaguars did some work. They're probably going to do some shuffling around with some players, and it just feels like everything's really, I mean, when you spend $175 million guaranteed money, you're going to get a lot better at a lot of positions. At least the raw material on a team is better. The roster is better. Now, you can have, if you have a bunch of Lamborghini parts all on the floor scattered out, you're not going to have a very good car. You got to have to put it together right, and then it's going to run good. Same with the Jaguars. The Jaguars, it feels like we have the raw material right now. We just have to be able to put it together and, make work with it, I should say. And the last thing I do want to touch on is the fact that the defense should undoubtedly be a lot better. I mean, it's, you can debate the offense. You can debate, is the offensive line that much better? Are these receivers? I mean, that can kind of be up for debate. But the defense, I mean, come on, man. You add guys like Trevon Walker, Fatu Kasi on the interior offensive line. You completely overhaul the linebacker group. You even add another secondary guy, and as well as Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco going into their second years. The defense should be a lot better. The Jaguars had the least amount of takeaways on defense last season, and the Jaguars only 3 times last year were positive in a turnover differential. Only 3 times. The Jags were 2-1 in those games. And the reason I mentioned defense is, defense, they need to generate turnovers. And if you generate turnovers, that creates momentum. It also gets you the ball in good field position, whether it be anywhere between like your own 40-yard line to all the way up in opposing territory. I mean, that's huge instead of just like, okay, Trevor Lawrence and the offense has got the ball at the, 17, the 11, the 22 yard, you know what I mean? When you keep starting back there, and you have to keep working the whole entire field, that affects you. And also just the defense, not only in terms of just committing like turnovers, but also just being able to sack the quarterback on third down, get 3 and outs, make it to where, your defense is well rested and your offense can go out there and play a lot, and they get in a rhythm and they can just go out there and make a ton of plays. That's really just the gist of it, man. I mean, we should be a lot better than last year. I should say that. Like I'm still expecting at least 7 wins. And hey, I don't think that's asking a lot, but even like if Trevor Lawrence really does take that year 2 like upgrade, I mean, when you look at the offensive line, I mean not the offensive line, when you look at the AFC South, obviously the AFC got a lot better. We can't compete with the like too much the AFC right now when it comes to like getting to a Super Bowl. But when it comes to the AFC South, I mean, absolutely the Jaguars should be able to compete. I mean, the only team obviously the Texans got a little better, but the Jaguars on paper are still better than Texans. Got to find a way to beat them. I think the Colts did get better. I can't really say the same about the Titans. I don't know how much better they got. I really think this division is wide open. I really do believe so. And the Jaguars just have to start beating teams in your division. Start beating the Texans. Start beating the Titans. Start beating Indianapolis and Indianapolis. We can beat them at home. That's no issue. We can go 1-15 and beat them at home, but when it comes to going to Indianapolis, stopping them, and the Jaguars just, AFC is tough. AFC South, not so much. And, Trevor Lawrence can cement himself in 2022 as the best quarterback in the AFC South. I mean, that opportunity is there, but the Jaguars, the coaching has to be there. The roster has to stay healthy. The roster has to mature quickly when it comes to being able to play together and get in sync quickly. They have to maximize their time at training camp and a preseason, and a lot of things do need to go right, but I think a lot of the building blocks are there. So I'm really excited. I feel like we're getting a Mulligan year, and honestly, a lot of these guys, I'm giving them a pass. Like I was mentioning earlier, Laviska Shenault, I'm giving that guy a pass. I mean, obviously, they need to play better, and that film is out there, but with the dysfunction last year, it's so hard to be really critical on a lot of these guys, and especially a guy like Trevor Lawrence, where you have a 21-year-old answering for your coach at press conferences after he got caught, fanoodling that girl out in Cincinnati. I mean, we don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. We have grown-ups in the building, so it's all excited. All right, guys, with all that said, I don't need to take up too much of your time. I'm just really high on Trevor Lawrence this upcoming year. I'm hoping for great things. As Jaguar fans, we remain hopeful. I got my Trevor Lawrence jersey. I got my Trevor Lawrence poster. I've got like 2 or 3 shirts down here that say Trevor Lawrence. This is the hope for our team. This is the future of our team, and let's just hope the Jaguars can do right and give them the right coaching and build the right assets. With all that said, if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like for me. I would really appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. I don't mention subscribing, but definitely subscribe. Would like to get my numbers up. And, once the Jaguars get good, we can take off with this channel. But thank you guys so much for making me your top source of Jaguars news. And with all that said, Go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.